Hello, everyone, and welcome to our first live stream. I hope you're all doing okay, staying at home and trying to stay safe. My name is Ernesto Raimat, and I am a percussion teacher at Classic Music and Arts Institute here in Oman. And I'm really excited about what we're going to be doing today. This stream will be some sort of a talk slash workshop slash lesson. So you're more than welcome to interact. So if you have any questions, if you want to say something, please say it on the comments, and I'll be trying to answer to you if we get the chance to do it live. That would be excellent. If not, you can still rewatch the stream, and again, still keeping your questions there. I'll be in touch with you. As the main focus for today's stream, I wanted to focus on our beginner students, drum students that are just starting to learn, and they want to get new ideas. So I thought I might share some of those ideas with them. The same way that on this same video, we're going to be having some documents or some information that is going to be helpful as well for more advanced drummers. So basically what I wanted to do was to talk of a few ideas. So I don't know, you're starting your drum lessons, or you want to start your drum lessons and you don't know where to start. I hope this video might be that first encounter with percussion. So we're going to be talking about ways of you practicing at home. Either you have a drum kit or not. So those things I think might be helpful. And by the end of this stream, you will end up with some important documents that are going to stick with you for a long time. These documents are exercises that we will be practicing. So basically 2 books that I'm going to be sharing with you. And so that's it. Let's just dive into that. So here, drum basics and how to practice drums without a drum kit. So what to do and how to do it. I list a couple of things here, which is kind of like a guide for us today. So first I wanted to talk about that, finding that motivation. So motivation for us as drummers, I think it will come not only as the moment that we want to learn how to play drums, so it's also a sort of finding ways to get inspired, so inspiration for a drummer. That's our first step here. And in my own experience, the way that I get that is by interacting with music as much as possible. What I mean is like listening to music, any type of music that you want to listen to, not just your favorite ones, but I believe that the more information we get, the more involved we are, the more ideas we're going to get when playing the drums. Of course, I mean, if we're going to be doing this, if we decide already to learn how to play the drums, I believe that the most important thing that needs to happen to you is that you actually like music. So that's step number 1 there. So if we have all of that, I think we are in a good path, so we can start the process of learning. The same thing happens if you're already an advanced drummer. I think the motivation part is a big thing for us, and getting in constant relation, trying to find videos online, listening to the latest trending drummer. So all those type of things are going to help us to get motivated to continue practicing drums, and the same way that is going to inspire us. Okay, so we are going to also talk about here of some of the tools that we're going to be using to create that practice at home. Of course, I'm going to be talking about for people that already have a drum at home, so that will be easy for them. But at the same time, I wanted to try to reach people that still they don't have a drum, but they don't know how to do it, or what type of things they need to look for online in order to get ready to practice. So about these tools, we're going to be talking about in a couple of seconds. I'm also going to be talking about some exercises that you can do. So as I said before, we will be sharing a couple of books that are going to be super helpful. Okay, these are exercises that any drummer should do throughout their career. So not specific things that are going to involve a full drum kit, but things that are going to help you develop skills. So later on you can start practicing or playing different things on your drum kit. I'm going to be talking about how to create a routine of practice for you. So that routine is going to be based on your needs, whatever needs you have at that moment. So I can help you create that routine with certain exercises. What should we practice? When or how often should we practice those exercises? And then at the same time, as we're not going to be talking about a big group of things to do here, these ones are going to be super basic, but I believe that once you start preparing or practicing the same type of exercises for a couple of weeks, it might become a little bit boring. So I'm going to try to help you here find ways to still challenge yourself and try to continue improving your skills using exactly the same exercises that we will see later on. Of course, none of these will be possible, and I think that at any level that you are, either if you're a very advanced drummer or you're just starting to play drums, I think that all of these should go around a very important thing, which is having fun while doing whatever we're doing. As a musician, as a drummer, as a pianist, whatever we're doing, this should be a moment to have fun, even the practice time. So it shouldn't be something too stressful, to making you not wanting to continue your drumming. So I think that with that said, we can start talking a little bit about the things that we can do right now that we are in this lockdown, and you can start practicing your drumming right away. You can start learning from zero today. So the next thing is, you have a drum, you're good to go. So then you will just continue from the exercise. But now, what if you don't have a drum at home? Then that's not a problem. There's a lot of solutions for us if we want to start playing the drums. The first thing, and it's going to sound a little bit silly, but I think that's the first approach we all have to drums when we're kids, and it's called air drumming. A very important thing in my career, as it was difficult for me to get a full drum kit back when I was in school. And air drumming became one of the moments where I started practicing, and it made me connect with music, and it made me train my ears, train my brain to start thinking towards music in a different way. You're going to see it's a very easy thing to do. So I suggest you do it with your favorite song, your favorite tracks, whatever you have on your phone. So you just plug your headphones so you can concentrate. If you're a little bit shy, you can go to your room, close the door, so no one can interrupt, or no one will see you acting like a crazy person, and just try to mimic those movements of a drummer in that band, or just try to replicate the sound or the patterns that you can do with your hands by drumming on the air. That's a very good thing to do, and I highly recommend it. You can do that either without sticks or with just your hands. Air drumming is a very important thing that you can do to continue developing your drumming skills, your ear, your musicality. Body percussion, this is something that we can also do, and I will give you a couple of examples later on how to practice things without even having to use your sticks, and you can still tap on your legs, on your chest, snap your fingers, things like that that are going to create sound. So you are a person that is, as a musician, you're expected to create music all the time. So either if it's on a paper or if you just have to improvise it, the creation part of this process is a very important one. So I think that body percussion brings a lot of that creativity there. So you can experiment with different sounds, create patterns, and the same way that can be done while listening to music. You plug your favorite music and then just tap on your legs, on your body, and create all of that. Beatboxing That one sounds fun, but there is a popular saying between drummers, among drummers, which is, if you can say it, you can play it. And that's totally true. So whatever you can vocalize, something that came to your mind, if you can vocalize it, so for sure that will be something that you can play later on a drum kit. And that is one of the things that I like doing the most when I'm doing classes especially with small kids, when they are just starting to get their first beats on the drums, and they still don't get the coordination, or they don't understand where they have to go. I will say, okay, fine, just drop the sticks down, and now let's try to sing that part. Let's get to the notes, or hear the music, and just try to repeat whatever the drum is supposed to do. That, in a way, is going to help the student to try to identify the different sounds on different drums. So they need to vocalize that. At the same time, they're trying to follow the music with their mouth. So that's creating a synchronization. So a lot of coordination there. It's a good ear training for any student that is just starting to do drums. Now there is another thing that we can do, and this one is way closer to what will be to be playing on actual drums, which is using something that I think we all have in our house, which is a pillow or a cushion, something like that. So this is a technique that is actually going to work very well even if you have the rest of the things. If you have a drum or if you don't, a pillow will give you a great workout. Pillows, of course, they are not going to bounce the same way that they will do, that the sticks will do on a real drum. So therefore the pillows are going to force you to work in a completely different way. So you're going to be doing a real workout for the muscles of your hands when you have to create all the movement of those sticks to get your exercises done. So pillows and cushions, highly recommended too. Pots, pans, and cardboard boxes, of course. I think that we all did something like that when we were kids, and that's a real fun thing to do. So you get on the carpet on the floor, you drop a couple of boxes, things, pots from the kitchen, and not even sticks. That's a great way, then again, talking about the creativity. So trying to create different patterns, different sound, experimenting with this type of things. So it might not sound like a real drum, so none of these things are going to sound like a real drum, but again, we are trying to keep that practice, so to keep your brain focused on creating music. So the pots and pans are amazing. You can create different sounds, different patterns. Again, you can do it with the sticks. You could practice with your hands. So I highly recommend that. I actually do a lot of those type of exercises or warm-ups for myself when I sit on my desk, and I'll just try to find different sounds on the desk. So when I tap, I get all those colors. So that is a very good tool, not just for a drummer, for any musician. Try to create music from whatever we have around us. Now, let's go to the fancy part of this, of the practice. And I'll be using today the next thing here, which is a practice pad. A practice pad is basically a wooden block with a piece of rubber glued to that. So I have an example here of a practice pad, and this one actually can be attached to a cymbal stand, so it will be way easier to start practicing with that. So this wood and this rubber, it's designed to resemble the bounce of a real drum. So for me, a practice pad is one of the best tools that we have in our hands. If we can get our hands with one of those, a practice pad will be the main tool for us to develop a lot of skills, a lot of things that we're going to get. So when you get to sit on a real drum kit, you don't have to already start training to get the speed that you need or the control of the volume you need. So a practice pad is going to be super good for that. And of course, I think the top on the list here, the best thing that we can get is an electronic drum kit. I say the best thing because I'm thinking of people that are living on an apartment surrounded by neighbors. So a real drum kit is going to be a mess with how loud it sounds. So an electronic drum kit is going to allow you to plug headphones, and you'll be the only one hearing wherever you're playing. And that's a very good way of practice. Now, not everyone gets to have a full electronic drum kit, and you could use then a practice pad, which I want to show you right now, because I also have a pad over here. So with this drum pad, of course we're going to get a better, let me adjust the camera for that. Okay. So we're going to get not only a rubberized surface so we can practice as on the practice pad, but at the same time with a pad like this we get immediate feedback from the instrument, so you get the sounds of a real drum. So we get that motivation already from the pad that we're playing on. So that's one of, or some of the tools that we can use while practicing at home without any drums. Great. So next thing I want to talk about now is present the exercise that we can actually do. So let's get into the tools that we need. I'm going to be using the practice pad, as I said before. So with the practice pad and a pair of sticks, later we will talk how to where to find the pair of sticks right now. So with the practice pad and the pair of sticks, we can do a lot of these exercises that I'm going to be talking about here. So the first book is called Stick Controls by George Lawrence, and for me is one of the most important books for any drummer right now. It's a very old book, and still today it's one of my main tools. I dropped a link there so you can find it online, easy. It's an easy free download, so you get the full PDF, and there's a ton of exercises there that we can use. I'll be focusing on a couple of them, and I'll explain how you can practice those at home. So talking about how to practice, so let's dive into that. So I have here the first page of exercises from that book. They are divided in a couple of different coordination patterns, and I also have a set list here of metronome marks, metronomes that we are going to be using now for this practice. I'll explain how to use the metronome later. So let's start with the sticks. I want to go back to the basics, because I don't know whoever is watching this video if they already know how to hold the sticks or no. So very quick, we will go through that. So first thing we're going to do, we'll try to find with whatever sticks we have. So it doesn't matter the brand or the size, that's something very personal, the way you choose your sticks. So this is a method I use with my younger students. So if you divide the stick in thirds, right? So you should get the lower third of the stick to be the point of your grip. Now, between your index finger and your thumb, we'll try to get a tight grip on that lower third, and the rest of the fingers will just help us now to control that bounce when we're moving. So very quick, we try to match the other stick. I'll go a little bit further down here so we can see the pad. Excellent. Now, a couple of things that we're going to be focused when practicing on a drum, like this one or a practice pad, even the pillow, it will be to try to focus all the movement on our wrist. So we don't want to get tired after half an hour of practice because we've been moving the arms for too long. So the more concentrated the movement is on your wrist, the better we'll go. Now let's talk about the exercises we have here. These are called stick controls, and no worries right now if you don't understand how to read musical notes. That's fine, because we also have a guide for the hands that we're going to be using here. So you see the right, left pattern that you have under each one of these exercises. So that's going to help us create that coordination. The first two exercises, they work on a single stroke pattern, which is one of the most used patterns, I believe, in all of the drumming world, which is basically striking the drum with one hand at a time. So it's a very single pattern. We have two options for that exercise, because one will be leading with the right hand, and then the next exercise will start leading with the left hand. So we have that. The next group of exercises, we call them double strokes, as we will have to repeat on the first two beats with the same hand. So right, left. That will be our main pattern there. And again, we start one time with the right, next time with the left. And the other group of exercises that we have here are called paradiddles. Paradiddles are basically a combination of those single strokes that we did before and double strokes. So on the same exercise, you get to do both of those things. Now talking about the metronome and how to use a metronome. Metronomes are very easy and very accessible right now in this world with internet. So if you have a smartphone or a computer, whatever you have, there's a tons of apps that you can download for free, giving you all the tools that you need on a metronome. Even Google has a metronome tool. So you just type metronome on your Google app, and you will get a tool right there for your use. So you see those numbers there. Those numbers are going to be my guide, my speed to start practicing my exercises. And they are increasing by 20 every time. Now that doesn't mean that you have to do the same. If you feel like going by 20 is going to be way too fast for you, you can slow it down and then do the increase the tempo by 10, by 5, whatever is comfortable for you. So I'm going to give you a couple of examples on how to practice these exercises and how to make it somewhere fun or somewhere challenging for you, although, even though these are like very simple exercises to do. So I'll set my metronome to 80 beats per minute, and that's going to give me a sound like this. Great. So I have a tempo, a steady tempo to follow right now. Now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to choose for each one of the beats that I listen on the metronome, I'm going to try to play 2 notes of the exercise. That is what we call eighth notes. It's going to be basically, or quaver notes. Basically for each one of my metronome marks, I'll be playing 2 of those notes. Okay, so I'm just going to play the exercise number 1 so you get an idea at 80, and then I'll explain later how to progress throughout these exercises. So exercise 1, 80 beats per minute. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Okay, so we have our first part of the exercise there. Now I suggest that you practice these for like a couple of minutes before you change the speed, so you spend time on the exercise, and because it's so simple to do, then you have time to focus on trying to keep your hands balanced. You will try to focus on the movement of your wrist and all of that, trying to get the same height from both sticks every time, so trying to balance the sound as much as possible. That's a great exercise to do, to start controlling that, to start controlling your sticks, your sound. So now let's take the same exercise and let's start increasing the speed so you see how you're going to start progressing on the same exercise. Exercise number 1, metronome mark 100. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Okay, so we practice like that for another couple of minutes. Now 120, a little bit faster. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Okay. Now I also suggest if you can count out loud whatever beats you're doing or whatever way you find, you can say the hands that you're using, right, left, right, left, right, left, or you could just count the beats like how I was doing right now. So those are also great tools to keep your body synchronized with the metronome the same time that you're playing on your pad. So that's how you practice one of these exercises. It's very linear, so you can spend a ton of time on the same exercise, and of course that's going to become a little bit boring later. So what we can do is try to do combinations of these exercises, trying to mix them up. So a very fun, it's kind of like a game that I have for these exercises. For me, we'll be playing each one of them in order without any stop. So I'll set my metronome to a certain speed, and then I'll try to play the whole page in one go without making any stop. This is how it works. So I'll set my metronome, I'll count 4 beats, and then I'll try to go through each one of the exercises. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so there you go. That's an exercise that will keep you focused all the time on whatever you're doing. So great tool to start your drumming. Of course, increasing the speed of the exercise is going to make it even more challenging for you. So that's what I meant at the beginning, how to create your own challenges. We can start doing variations over the same exercise. So for example, I'll take exercise 1 again. This time, I'm going to be doing a count of 4 beats for what we call before the quaver notes, so playing only 2 notes on each beat, right? And then I'm going to increase the speed, so double the tempo on the next repetition. So that will be 16th notes on top of that. This is how it sounds. And if you're at home watching this, please, and you got your pair of sticks and your pad or your pillow, whatever you're practicing on right now, please feel free to join. You can rewatch the video, then stop it and get all that information there. So I'm going to be doing exercise 1 on a second variation, and you're going to get very easy what am I doing here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay, so by doing all those changes on speed on the same exercise, it's forcing you to start controlling your muscles in a better way. So that's a lot of, we can do all of that with each one of these exercises, and again, we can make combinations for those exercises here. So that's only the first page. If you download the book, you're going to find that there are tons of exercises like this. So I think that's one of the best tools a drummer has on its hands, and right now using all this internet, that's all for free. So please check this exercise out. Don't forget to have your template for timings on your metronome. So that's going to be one great step that you're going to be taking on your practice for your drumming. Now, the next thing I wanted to talk about, it's rudiments. And again, you have here the link, direct link to a full PDF downloadable for free. This is from the Percussive Art Society, which is an organization that for many years has been supporting drummers all around the world. And they have kind of like these standardized rudiments. Now, rudiments and stick controls, they're very similar, as they will be exercises that are kind of linear, because you're going to be playing like on a single pad or things like that. But now what happens with the rudiments is that rudiments are going to use the same coordination patterns that we had before, as the single strokes, the double strokes, or the paradiddles, and they are going to introduce to this what we call articulation. So these exercises are going to bring phrasing to your patterns. It's going to bring new techniques. You're going to start doing emphasis on a specific notes. So more control over whatever you're doing, whatever exercise that you were doing. And at the same time, you're going to start getting more into the musical language. So getting into dynamics, getting into making the difference between one beat or the other. So I have a couple of examples here. And here, I'm going to be talking about ways that you can still practice these, even if you don't have the stick. So I love doing these exercises on my legs. So I'll just sit on a chair, and I'll get on my thighs with my bare hands, and I'll start playing those exercises just by using my wrist and the palm of my hands. So this, for example, I'll start with the first exercise here. That's a single stroke roll. Rolls are super useful for drummers. That's like a blast of a lot of notes that you can fit. Sometimes we count how many notes we're doing. Sometimes it's just as many notes as you can play in a certain amount of time. So these exercises are going to start bringing those blasts into phrases. And phrases are very useful for drummers when we are creating patterns around the drums. When you're doing fills, you're playing your groove, you want to do a fill, then you get these phrases here to help you. So that exercise 2, it's a single stroke for 4 notes. So basically we're doing, it's a triplet, so 1, 2, 3, and then a last note at the end. Now I like to play this exercise by trying to keep all those beats even as possible. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Or at the same time, I could start bringing accents to that same exercise. So doing an accent on the last note or doing emphasis on that last note is going to bring now 2 different layers, so 2 different movements that I have to do. And because I'm just using my hands, it's not going to hurt me that much that if I was using the sticks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then, of course, you change your hands. Then again, we have another single stroke now with 6 notes. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, da 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 da, pa pa pi pi pan, ta ka pi pi pan, ta ka pi pi pan, ta ka pi pi pan. These are exercises that are going to start developing a lot of speed on you because you're just playing short patterns. Then you have a moment to rest and then you take it back again. So rudiments, I think, are a very important part of your daily routine. Again, now we have double strokes exercises. So same thing, I'll explain a couple of them. I'll take the 6 now, and now I can show you how to practice with the sticks. And even if you don't have a practice pad, you can still practice on your legs. I used to do this a lot when I was in school. So I think that's a very effective way to continue your practice. So that exercise 5, that's just a 5-stroke, exercise 7, sorry, that's just a 5-stroke roll. So basically what we're doing is a double stroke, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and an accent on the last note. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, da 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 da, bidi bidi bam, ba da ba ba bam. Those are exercises that later you're going to see translate to your drums in a very effective way. We can build full fills around the drums just using these patterns here. So I just wanted to show you that the rudiments are going to be working in different groups. So you have whatever exercises or patterns you have as single strokes. Then we have the double stroke rolls. There's a ton of exercises there. This is just a highlight of the ones I like the most. And of course we have exercises that are going to work on the diddle exercises, which are the combinations of your single strokes and double strokes on one single exercise. So we have now here an example of that single paradiddle, which is exactly the same combination we did on stick control number 5. Now on this exercise here, we have an accent on that first note, which again, it brings us to the idea of getting articulation, getting more variety on the way that you're playing this exercise. Of course, the book will tell you, okay, let's do an accent on the first one, and it makes the exercise sound like this. I'll bring the pad back, and the exercise will sound as 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So you have that accent on that first note. Okay, but now again, you can create your own thing here and then start challenging yourself. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to try to do is to move that accent from place inside the same exercise. And this is what I was talking about, more advanced drummers right now. So if you're interested on knowing how to get only those 40 exercises that come on that page and make them not 80, not 100, but like thousands of combinations of that, you take the same exercise and then you start playing around with that. So now I'll do the same exercise, but now I'm going to start doing the accent on the second note. So basically, we'll go like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay, so those are variations that you can do over each one of these exercises here. Again, you have the full PDFs to download, so don't worry if I'm just showing a couple of these exercises here. These are what I think are the most important ones to start your drumming practice. So now that we talk about that, I think I've given you like at least an introduction to what your drum practice will be from now on. Even if you're at home, stuck at home, you don't have a full drum kit, I think you can use a lot of that to start practicing your drumming. So I'm going to stay a little bit longer here in case you have any questions or in case you want to ask something over the chat. If you wanted me to talk about any other exercises that you might know, so please do that on the comments. I'm just going to like wrap up the whole video. So with this small summary here, which I think is important, not just the exercises that we did, but the way that we're going to start thinking right now about drumming or about our practice. So of course we talk that there are ways to practice drum without owning a drum kit. So that's one of the important things that we did here. And you can practice even without any of the fancy tools that you can find online. So you can get your pillow, your legs, whatever it is. There's tons of ways that you can continue practicing drums. So be creative with your practice. It's not only about creating those exercises, but that when you're going to practice how, if it's over music, if it's using a metronome, whatever is keeping your routine fun, still fun to do. An important thing is that this drum practice, it should also be something daily, so you don't have to do all those exercises from the beginning every day. So tons of exercises like that. No way. So you can choose what to do each day. You can create your own plan. So you can say, okay, today I'm going to be working on single stroke exercises. So that will be your practice for the day. So you will be doing your stick controls, and at the same time you're going to choose all the single stroke exercises from your rudiments and practice those over a metronome, over music, whatever it is that will make it different. Then the next day you can plan for a different program. So you work on your rolls, you work on your accents, whatever it is that you can create throughout the week, a different plan, so you're not repeating the same thing every day. And then when you go back to the same single stroke exercises, then start thinking of variations that you can make to those exercises there. So try a range of methods using different types of equipment. We talk about using the cushions, using your legs, whatever surface you're going to start playing, that is always going to be something different. It's a different feeling of the bounce of the stick. So that's going to make your hands work in a different way. So I recommend changing, moving around things every time you sit to practice. And to not forget, like talking about now the air drumming thing or the beatbox, that whatever time you spend listening to music or with the sticks in the hand or without the sticks in the hand, whatever time you spend doing that, it's always a valid time. It's something that is going to be worthwhile for you. So I highly recommend to start now filling your phone with tons of music. It doesn't have to be always your favorite one. I always tell my students, if they once they go back in the car after the class, turn the radio, and perhaps the modern music right now will be the best for the drummer to try to get into new patterns, but at least it's a practice for you to start training your ear, trying to find out those beats, those things that we want to follow, and that are going to make us eventually drummers. So I think that's all I had to talk today. I think this will be the first of a series of videos that we'll be doing. So I think next Thursday we'll be back at the same time at 4, and we'll talk about something else. Not every day will be something about beginner level. So I'm trying to bring in some patterns where we can make it more of an interactive thing where you can learn from me in the same way I can learn from you guys. So I know that internet is full of people with a lot of ideas, and that's one of the main reasons we wanted to do this type of videos, trying to organize that in a simple way to our students or any potential new students that we might get. And talking about being creative, or I think this will help the mood on the, like getting you in the mood of trying to experiment. And as if for me, every time I sit on my car, I saw that meme on Facebook the other day. So for me, every time I sit on my car, this is exactly what I see. I see a full drum kit in front of me. So every time I put that music, I'm driving, I'm concentrated on the road, so I'm trying to take care of that. But at the same time, that full front of my car becomes my drum kit at that moment. So I'm all the time tapping things, creating, getting ideas, things that later I will try to replicate on a real drum when I'm performing or when I'm just practicing. So hope that this video really helped you to get into new ways of practicing, or if you didn't have any idea on what to do, this video might help you with that. So let's go back to our first camera here. Now, I wanted to share a couple of things, because I talked about getting sticks or getting a practice pad, and you might not even know where to find one right now. So you can follow that link over there. It's tunesomanonline.com. That's our online shop. So where you can find lots of instruments, not only percussion. So you can find any of your, whatever instrument you're interested to start, even books. So there's tons of books, tons of instruments right now. And the good thing is that Tunes hasn't stopped working because of the situation we have right now. So Tunes is offering home delivery for a lot of their purchases. And there are some offers happening throughout the week. So please, if you can follow the Tunes page again on Facebook, that will be super helpful. I'm just going to show you. I'll drop here the two links for, oh, that's blocking my face. So just those were the links. I'll copy them on the comments so you can get the books that I talked about today. And just an idea of all the type of sticks and things, or how our website looks. So you get an idea. This is Tunes website, so you just type whatever product you want to get, and we have tons of drumsticks here. So there's plenty to choose. I recommend you go on the website, find the model, Google it, find out if that's the correct stick for you, then you purchase it and you will get it delivered to your house. The same thing will happen with these practice pads that I was talking about. So there's a tons of things to choose here, tons of variations. And again, as I mentioned at the beginning, my name is Ernesto Raymat. I am a percussion teacher for Classic Music and Arts Institute. So I hope you're watching the video on our page right now. And of course, I wanted to say that we're also offering online lessons throughout the whole week. So if you're interested, you can contact us on all the info page that we have on Facebook. So I think that will be all from my side. If you have any questions about anything that you want to learn, you can drop a comment. And of course, we're always going to try to be in touch with you. So that's my goodbye. Thank you for watching this video. And I hope to see you next week talking about drums. Thank you.